Shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Ruach. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace, blessing, and safety to all the elect out there, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and to the sincere believers. This is the brother Abadia from the GMS Toronto camp, coming back at you with another one. And you know, this is just a little quick hit, about those the ICBMs, those nuclear missiles that are gonna completely destroy the land of America. This Saturday at camp, we were going into it, the destruction that's coming, and we're giving our people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and you natives, the indigenous tribes of this this judgment that's coming to the land of America. Um, we're living in a time of war right now. There's a madman in office by the name of Donald Trump who is just itching to to push the button and release these nuclear weapons. And some people feel like it will never happen. Especially it'll never happen to America. But through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, we're here to tell you that it is going to happen. And it's going to be a very terrible and scary time. When those alerts go out, when those warheads are dropping from the sky, people are gonna panic. And that's why we tell Jake, to repent. Repent and turn back to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Because it's gonna be terrifying. It's gonna be terrifying, and it's gonna be scary. Even for us, for the hopeful elect. So anyways, this is Isaiah chapter 13 in the GNT, starting at verse 6. Howl in pain, the day of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, is near, and the day when the Almighty brings destruction. Everyone's hands will hang limp, and everyone's courage will fail. Because of what they're going to be witnessing. There's going to be a lot. There's a lot of this stuff is going to even take place, even leading up to this final moment. The collapse of the financial market. The civil wars, martial law. The MOTB will have been made mandatory at this point. Because the MOTB has to come before this destruction, before this final destruction takes place. And a lot of people are gonna be shook. In that series, also the fallout, the very first episode, they were it was a children's birthday party, right? And then all of a sudden, that big flash, that big bang from the warhead hitting the city, and the look on people's faces, they're terrified. They're terrified that big flash bang, and then just the wind that follows after it. People are gonna be shook. Like I said, the Lord is gonna come in a thief in the night. A lot of people are not even gonna expect this to happen. It's gonna happen, suddenly. and people are going to be terrified. They will, verse 8, they will all be terrified and overcome with pain, like the pain of a woman in labor. They will look at each other in fear, and their faces will burn with shame. Because I know at this point, what are you going to do? You can't outrun a missile, you know? Most importantly, you can't outrun the judgment of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you know? And the Lord's anger is gonna be put in those ICBMs, you know, those missiles. His fury, you know, is gonna lay the land of America to waste, you know. And if you are not of the elect, you will die. Plain and simple. You know, you will be taken out. You will be met with that lake of fire. The chariots is the only way to escape the fire on the shores of America. So no bunker's gonna save you. No high mountain. You know, no underwater city or whatever it is that Esau be trying to plan. You know, and Esau's not dumb. You know, the high elites, you know, because their bunkers, you know, their escape plans are not going to be on American soil. But you you less fortunate, you know, and you dummies are going to be taken out and you're going to be shook. The day of the Lord is coming, that cruel day of his fierce anger and fury. The earth will be made a wilderness, and every sinner will be destroyed. I want to jump down. You know, I'll jump down to verse 17. The Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai says, I am stirring up the Medes to attack Babylon. They care nothing for silver and are not tempted by gold. You know, and that's going into Russia. With their bows and arrows, so that their ICBMs, they will kill the young men and will show no mercy to babies and take no pity on children. Yeah, because when those missiles hit, whatever it's in its path is going down, is going to be destroyed. You know, the like when a fire, if an apartment building catches in fire, whatever, it don't matter who's in that it doesn't matter who's in the building. You know, doesn't matter what age or race. If you're caught in that fire, you're gonna die. You know, and the same like onto these missiles. These missiles are gonna take out everyone that is on America, old, young, babies, male, female, the animals, anything that is on the shores of America is going to be destroyed by nuclear fire. You know, Babylonia is the most beautiful kingdom of all. It is the pride of its people. But I, the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, will overthrow Babylon as I did Sodom and Gomorrah. So just like the Lord, when the Lord warned Lot to leave Sodom and Gomorrah because he was getting ready to destroy it with the fire and the brimstone, the fire from the heavens, the same is going to be done onto America. You know, there's never been a time in history where you haven't heard so much talk about about nuclear weapons. You know, about war, about a leader in office talking about he wants to take out a whole civilizations. He wants to blow this nation off the map. You know, because that's the times that we're gonna get ready to witness. You know, Second Peter 3:10, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. Yeah, because it's gonna burn. Everything's gonna burn. Nothing's gonna be left. It's not like it's not like a fire. A fire happens and then you see like the rubble. You still see like the steel beams, or or a half broken dresser, or the outline structure of a building. No, it's gonna be totally. It's gonna be land. It's gonna be laid flat. You know, it's gonna be laid flat. Everything is going to burn, and it's gonna come as a thief in the night. Just like in that, like I brought the example in that show, The Fallout. If brothers didn't watch that show, may tune into it. I personally, I didn't. I wasn't really a fan of it, but I did that first episode. Always stood out to me because that's the way the series starts, is with the ICBMs dropping. You know, and they didn't see it coming. They weren't watching. They were carrying on. They were having fun. Celebrating the youth's birthday, and then they were overwhelmed with fear. You know, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know where. There was nowhere to run. There's nowhere to run. You cannot outrun the judgment of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You can't. That's why it's so important to gain His mercy now. That's why it's so important to build that relationship with Him now. I'm not trying to sound like those Christians, but it's true in that aspect that you got to be communicating with Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You got to be praying. You got to be doing the work. You got to want to spiritually enhance yourself, because when those warheads come crashing down, the only thing that can save you is Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. It's the only thing. These Hollywood movies and things, they make it seem like, oh yeah, you can outrun it. We'll go into our bunkers. We'll be okay. No, because that's what Esau does. They push a false narrative that you can escape this judgment that is going to take place. There's always a way out, and it's not true. Another show like Paradise, great show. It goes into without saying too much. There was a nuclear fallout, and Esau built a bunker. Esau built a bunker, and they were living under there, and everything was good. And basically, things continued the way they were. Then that's not gonna happen. Once those Once these nations shoot after America, which is Babylon the Great, that's it. And when Yahweh Shai returns, this is all be going on at the same time. That's it for Esau. There's no restart for him after that. He's done. Revelation 11:13, in the same hour there was a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain the men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the Most High of heaven. So, this is all going to take place in 1 hour. It's not gonna take long. The Lord is going to make, is going to make a speedy work on his judgment, and the wicked are going to be judged. The wicked are going to be judged very quickly. It's going to be it's going to be it's going to be mission complete. That's why it goes into 7,000. They were slain, the men 7,000. That just means, a complete number. And the remnant were frightened, because the elect are going to be, terrified. They're going to be giving praise and honor and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. They're going to be praying and hoping that what they did during this grace period was enough for them to escape this judgment. When that fire, when those ICBMs start hitting, it's gonna be loud. We don't even know what that sounds like. You just see it in Hollywood, the image, but we have no idea what it sounds like. We have no idea what it sounds like and feels like for multiple warheads, 200 million warheads to be falling all on one landmass. That's what's going to cause that great earthquake. The earth is going to shake. 200 million warheads. Just left, right, north, south, west. Just one after another. And that's why the elect are going to be frightened. The elect are going to be saved, through the skin of their teeth. Just in time. That's what we pray, Lord willing, the Lord finds mercy, upon me to make it. Even prior to coming into this truth, growing up, I used to always have a dream. I don't know if I've ever, spoken on this in any of my videos, but growing up as a kid, I used to always have a dream about me looking through the window. I'm in a building, and I'm looking through the window, looking out to the city of, because where the building that I had lived in at this time, I could see downtown Toronto, so I could I could see like the CN Tower, all the skyscrapers, and I could whatever. So I just see me looking out, and then all I would see is fire, like a great gulf of fire, hitting the city. I never understood it as a child. I didn't know what it was, but the fire hitting the city and the fire then rushing, like you see in those basically, you see in those movies. The ICBM will make contact, and then you get the mushroom cloud, and then that rolling mushroom cloud, and then the fire just sweeps through, and I see this fire coming towards me, and then I would wake up. I'll I'll never forget that. And this is me having this dream at, man, I would say like, it was around maybe around like early teens around there. And I would have that, and I had that dream on multiple occasions, and I never understood it. I used to wake up sweating, terrified, not understanding what the heck that I was seeing. But to this day, like that's I'm not one to really remember a lot of dreams, but to this day, in my older years, I still remember that. I still remember that one dream, or or vision, and as soon as the Lord blessed me with this truth, that dream then made sense to me. It was the destruction, it was the Lord's judgment, and those ICBMs. So, that's why, that's why we do this work, with fear and trembling, because we know it's gonna happen, you know, and we can only hope and pray that we escape it. This is Jeremiah 50:14. Put yourselves in array against Babylon, round about all ye that bend the bow and shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she had sinned against the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Yeah, because that's all America's been about, doing everything that's unrighteousness. You know, doing everything that bucks up with the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. That's all America has ever pushed. They don't believe in the Bible. You know, Here it is when they swore in their leaders, they want them to put their hand on it. When you go to court, they have they have the book on there. They tell people to put their hand on the book, but they don't believe in the Most High. They don't believe in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know, they're wicked. They're evil. The things that they have done, the things that they push forth, the fornication. That is why it says, "Spare no arrows, for she has sinned against the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai." There's gonna be no ICBMs, no intercontinental ballistic missiles left after this day. Of the Lord's wrath. None of it's gonna be left. They're all gonna be used to shoot against this whore, which is Babylon the Great, which is America. Scary. It's gonna be terrifying. Second Ezra 16:13. For strong is the right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss. They're gonna hit. Every single one of them is gonna hit their target. There's no missile defense system that's gonna stop it. There's no dome that's gonna stop it. They're gonna hit every single one of their targets. And shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. The difference part, America's gonna get hit. It's along with the land of Israel and wherever else the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai sees fit to get hit. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like an arrow which is shot off a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that are sent unto the earth shall not return again. So, when those missiles get fired, they're not gonna go back into their, I think they're called like silos or wherever it is that they shoot out of. No, once they leave and go towards their direction, that's it, done. Woe is me, who would deliver me in those days, you know? That's Esdras, you know, and also the whole felt like, you know, you know, that's, we have that same, you know, mindset, you know, we're praying and hoping to Yahweh Shem Shai that we get saved, in the midst of all this chaos, in the midst of all this judgment and destruction that's going to be happening, you know? We were talking about it in camp. You know, the alert system is gonna go out. You know, people are gonna be panicking. You know, trying to find shelter. And to be honest, like Esau might not even put out that alert. You know, this is just me speaking as a man. They might not even put out that alert. Cause I even remember in the movie Greenland. You can watch that one on I believe it's on Prime. There's part one and there's part two, but in part one, the you know they there's a meteor or something that's coming towards Earth, so they put out the alert, but only and I believe in um Paradise they did the same thing, but only a certain amount of people got the alert. But I remember it definitely in Greenland because, you know, once again they're at a party. It's funny that that one was up. They're at a birthday party or some type of barbecue, and the main guy, I think Gerald Butler, you know, he was like a high ranking officer or whatever, but he got the alert to gain shelter and to make way to the bunker, while the rest of the families in there, they're watching it on the news, but they have no idea what's really taking place because the news is not gonna tell the whole story because they don't want people to get in panic. So he gets this alert and he's trying to tell his wife to, you know, get their child ready and they gotta make moves. And then, you know, and then the rest of the people eventually start to figure out what's going on. You know? So Esau might not even put out that alert, you know, because they don't want people to panic. That's why it makes so much. I mean, you know, that's why it makes so much sense. That it's gonna come like a thief in the night. You know, Yahushua is gonna come like a thief in the night. They're not looking for it. They're not expecting it. It's just gonna happen suddenly. And when things happen suddenly, it causes even a bigger panic. You know, it's like that surprise attack. Uh, Psalms 21 and 9, thou shalt make them as a fiery oven in the time of thine anger. The Lord shall swallow them up in his wrath, and the fire shall devour them. And America is going to be like an oven. One of the brothers said at camp on Saturday, that shit's going to be like an air fryer. Just sizzling, you know? And you know an air fryer, the oven gets hot, but the air fryer, that shit cooks the food quicker, you know? Because it's just compact in just you know, a small area, you know? That's what America's gonna be like, you know? It's just gonna get hot real quick, and there's gonna be no way to escape, you know? The only ones who are gonna escape are the elect. Revelation 18 and 10, standing afar of the fear of her torment, saying, at last, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So, you know, bring it 1 hour, 1 hour. And a lot of those missiles that they have, Satan 1, Satan 2, the prophet, the forgot some of the names of some of them, but you know these missiles, these ICBMs take, you know, less than 20 minutes to reach their target. you know. So in 1 hour, America's going to be done. In 1 hour, Esau's kingdom is going down, you know, and righteousness is going to be set up. So yeah, you know, the missiles are coming, you know. Prophets of Yahweh Shem Shai, you know, we're, you know, giving that warning, you know, the brothers all over, starting off with our apostles and elders, we're warning you, you know, what is to come, that the MOTB has to happen first. And once all that takes place, then you can expect then the missiles to fly shortly after. So I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace, blessing, and safety to all the elect out there scattered throughout the four corners of the earth.